In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the upcoming pattern. We do have a storm coming to an end that was a very major one for severe weather and even snowfall in the northeastern states. We have a lot more activity on the way as springtime is just getting started. Let's dive into things, and we're taking a look at actually earlier this afternoon, and what we see is that low was near Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Heavy snowfall in northern New York, areas of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, even down through Massachusetts and surrounding southern New England states, especially in those higher elevation areas. Let's move towards tomorrow, something actually upcoming, and we do have some residual showers left over from this storm, and this low is still near the coast of Maine. Pretty low precipitation by this point, and we expect mostly flurries, little sprinkles here and there, and some showers mixed in both in the form of rainfall and snowfall, depending on your elevation, of course. As we navigate out west, we see more major storminess taking place for the western regions and also the Rocky Mountain regions here as well. As you can see, a lot of snowfall, rainfall happening depending on where you're at. By the time we reach Saturday on April 6th, we see a low ends up forming from this one in just a couple of days. 987, which is a pretty explosive low, especially considering it wasn't even on the map a second ago. It's just really taken off. We see it located somewhere between Kansas and Nebraska there. We have this cold front forming out ahead of things. We have a warm front trying to maybe form off to the north. Very odd there, as we have warmth just able to really stretch far to the north here and actually kind of going inverted a little bit. So somewhat of a frontal boundary here of some sort, and also this cold front out ahead of things. Thunderstorms likely forming here along the plains. More isolated to the south appears to be likely for Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas by this point. A little bit heavier as you get closer to the low for Nebraska and Kansas there. Could have some heavier thunderstorms. And of course, for the Rocky Mountains and even some of those plains in Montana, Wyoming, and Colorado, we have snowfall forming to the west of that low. By the time we reach towards the overnight hours of Saturday into Sunday, I do expect an overnight severe weather threat for a lot of the plains states like Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, and Nebraska there. Looks like some heavier thunderstorms begin to develop overnight that night. They do have ample moisture and heat moving northward here, just out ahead of things. And it's not too cold behind it, but certainly drier and colder, so that creates a lot of instability for these areas. And snowfall to the west of the low gets a little bit heavier here, especially in Montana and Wyoming, as well as some surrounding states. Let's keep going by that to that afternoon, and by the time we take a look at it, we see that there is a cold front, but it's well outpacing the low pressure system. We talked about this yesterday. So these will likely break up as they just continue to outpace that low, but not yet. By Sunday afternoon, we do actually have some heavier storms, heavier rainfall occurring overall for areas like Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas, down through Louisiana, and even Texas, and some of these states to the east of those ones I mentioned as well. And by the time we reach Monday afternoon, we see that cold front really breaks up, and so does that low. I mean, it's somewhere over here, but it's very, very weak by this point. And we have some rainfall showers left over and some thunderstorms left over from this cold front that once existed. And these are actually going to pick back up. We have a lot of moisture moving into this, so they're able to kind of just stay alive for the most part. And by the time we reach later on that evening and into the next day, we see things really, really shake and bake here on Tuesday is what I would say for a lot of these deeper south areas. Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Alabama, and Mississippi there. Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia here, South Carolina, North Carolina, all seeing some thunderstorms and showers due to this area of instability. Even the Four Corner states reaching some snowfall to those mountainous areas for New Mexico and Colorado. Let's go towards Wednesday there on the day for the 10th of April. And we have a low forming behind all of this for Texas. The jet stream by this point, we have a real pinch here is what I would call it. So a lot of strong winds moving in from the south here towards that low. And this is creating a lot of instability as we have a lot of warmth and a lot of humidity moving into this one. Especially out ahead of it, we have the Gulf air really surging to the north, so certainly impactful. And this could be a very summer-like day. Maybe not temperature-wise, it would be a cooler summer day, of course. But as far as the widespread area of isolated and scattered thunderstorms here, this looks very summer-like. And obviously, as we head towards late April into May and especially June, this is going to become a common occurrence. But this is pretty early in the season to be seeing a graphic like this. So all of the states in here could have a chance of thunderstorms for the day on Wednesday, the 10th. By the time we reach on the day for Thursday, the 11th here, it's a lot of the same. Stronger low over Arkansas and Missouri. We have a area of potential severe weather. I would mostly eyeball this area here, potentially also back here for areas of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. But this eastern front, I think, could be an area to watch. Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina there, just to the east of the Appalachian and Smoky Mountains there, and even areas in the panhandle of Florida seeing these heavier thunderstorms. But really, I think everywhere in here could have a chance at thunderstorms. So another widespread, scattered, and isolated thunderstorm day. I know that's a very confusing sentence. What I mean is that the area of isolated and scattered thunderstorms will be widespread, but there won't be widespread thunderstorms throughout this entire area, just to clarify there. Friday, on April 12th, what we see is this low really surges to the north, 982, very strong, and we have a significant cold front stretching all the way down to Mexico, across the Gulf of Mexico. So not only is the East Coast likely seeing some potential severe weather and definitely thunderstorms up and down the East Coast there, but also the entire Gulf of Mexico is getting this sweeping line of thunderstorms and even down to the Yucatan Peninsula. So a very, very far stretching cold front there. Also heavy rainfall near this very strong low for eastern Canada. A big time rain event up there. By the time we reach Saturday, we see some snowfall following that rainfall for Canada. Now heavy snowfall, likely struggling to accumulate a little bit, but if it's this heavy and lasts many, many hours, I'm sure some of that will end up accumulating. And mostly we see rainfall here for the Northeast states. Other than that, very quiet for Saturday. And Sunday appears to be very similar, with much warmth for a lot of the nation here. I would say the Southwest, most of the central states, and most of the eastern states. The only cooler areas I see is some of the Northwest and the northern plains here, as well as the Northeast. But the Great Lakes seeing some warmer weather here as we have a little bit of a ridge. Everywhere's kind of looking pretty warm, but the biggest, most significant ridge, and it's really not that significant, is over the Midwest and northern plain, or better yet, mostly the northern, upper Midwest, sorry, and Great Lakes there, better yet. Let's take a look at the GFS model, see where we get some agreement, disagreement. We get this cold front bringing some severe weather, multi-day event, and then we get that building of the Gulf energy into that, and then get these kind of more widespread thunderstorm days up and down the East Coast. And this model, I mean, we were even seeing it for somewhat of Friday into Saturday, and then eventually that comes to an end. But look, we get an extended range here on the GFS model, so we get to go beyond Sunday the 14th. So here's the night, Sunday into Monday, and we get another strong low forming over the upper Midwest and Great Lakes here with a stretching cold front. So likely another severe weather event underneath this. Shouldn't surprise us too much, as this is kind of moving towards the heart of the severe weather season, which I would say is early to mid-May. But also, you know, mid to late April is known for being very active as well, oftentimes. By that afternoon on Monday, we're looking at the Gulf states seeing some scattered about thunderstorms. The biggest threat for severe weather, I would say, is this area here. So Illinois, Indiana, maybe even Michigan and Wisconsin there, if it's warm enough out ahead of that cold front. Also Kentucky, Missouri, maybe some of Arkansas, Tennessee, and northern Mississippi. This is the main area I would be watching for Monday, although it's very, very far out, of course. But I'm just saying, based on this graphic, that would be my thoughts. But expect things to shift around a lot beyond 10 days here. By the time we reach Tuesday, what we see happen, well, let's backtrack a little bit because this gets interesting. This pocket of heavier precipitation actually begins to form a low here that wants to move up the East Coast a little bit more like a nor'easter, which is fairly common during the springtime, so wouldn't be too surprised. We see this move over North Carolina, Virginia, and up into New England as well. A very heavy rainfall event, likely a strong wind event as well. I'd be eyeballing these areas in particular for potential flooding, which throughout March was a big, big issue, so maybe April looks to bring some of the same, unfortunately. A bit of a cool down there, quickly warming up though by the 18th, and we get another major storm system here, 984 over North Dakota or maybe southern Canada, with a cold front stretching down. Actually, that cold front might be more here. I would imagine, and this could bring some northern severe weather to areas like South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, and Minnesota. We'd have to be watching for that. And then it looks like after that we get another low trying to form. We actually have two here. So the primary low is to the south, secondary low here. What's interesting is we have a cold front here, it appears, but this one might end up taking over and getting its own cold front. So again, this is all based on the graphic we're looking at here. It's hard to say that if it'll look anything like this, really. But we do have a massive ridge over the eastern states and a big trough for this time of year out over the west. So we do get some northwest snowfall, even some southern Rockies snowfall, and then some western Canadian snowfall. And then mostly hot, warm to hot weather in the east with some thunderstorm chances in there. That seems to be the story here. Total precipitation on the European model, at least, shows a lot for the east here. And actually, the closer you move to the coast, the less significant that is. So we see a little bit less there for the coast. Mostly this kind of southern plains, deeper south and up towards the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes area seems to be the most. And then the west is seeing even less than we saw yesterday, so this continues to descend. Your total snowfall here, a lot out west. This is kind of what's left over from the ongoing storm, and I don't really expect much else after that in the east, so no big surprises here. And likely over the coming weeks, we will stop seeing the total snowfall here on the channel, and we will have to wait all the way until September or October to see that again. The GFS model agrees quite a bit. Temperature pattern, we have a big cool down ongoing after that storm rolled through. We do see a warm up slowly but surely build in for the east by the time we reach early next week. Monday looks quite warm. Tuesday looks quite warm. Wednesday looks quite warm. Thursday, and even Friday, but then Saturday we get maybe another cool down for the east, which I know is disappointing, but they have to happen at some point. We can't see warmth the whole way through spring. But I will say, on the bright side, the bright and sunny side, I would say, we do have cold over a lot of the east here, but look at how close this warmth is, and this does appear to be moving towards the east. So this might be a 1 or 2 day cooldown instead of one of these, 3 or 4 day cooldowns, which are a lot more obviously annoying. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe for daily weather uploads just like this one. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.